Alright, time for another draft physics video presentation. I don't know where this video will go exactly. Just the overall discussion, the fact that there isn't an overall discussion, the fact that there's no organization of the argument. How does anyone propose a theory of the dynamics of energy? And provide evidence and demonstration that provides consistency with Newton's third law. Same energy has to go this way as that way, kind of thing. What goes in has to come out, because we kind of know that's how the thing works. They're overtly saying now, yes, that I can have two different momentums, and they'll weigh the same on a scale. Essentially, a spring will see the two different momentums as the same momentum, the same weight. As I pointed out, you really can't separate momentum from weight. That's what momentum is. That's what gravity gives you, and that's what you're weighing on a scale. To say that they weigh the same but they'll weigh differently, doesn't make any sense. Lots of paradoxes, lots of stuff that just can't be in any way tied together. The things just will not stay in the same bottle, however you want to metaphor it. It just can't be the right answer because there's contradictions in the models. So, yet people don't want to talk about that. So they just go on these rants about credibility issues or some other nonsense that really don't have anything to do with the specifics of the argument. It's kind of a simple argument, frankly. What's the real measure of energy in the universe? Momentum or kinetic energy? mv or 1/2 mv squared. And again, we could look at the formulas and say, what were their histories? How were they developed? Why were they developed? Momentum is Descartes and Newton, through lots of observation of the universe, mechanics-wise. Now, Newton was mostly talking about things that never really hit each other. They just get affected by each other's gravity. So he didn't do a lot of contact analysis. Now, Descartes did do contact analysis, and both came up with the same sort of rationale, that force does equal the momentum, mass times velocity. You could always go back to Galileo also. But anyway, and then this new version, proposed not because there was anything overtly, not because they had some example in the world that didn't make any sense, using momentum. They just, for religious purposes, the guy who initiated clearly had metaphysical motivations. And that is just run away from. And the people who proposed it later just wanted to be different. They wanted something new and interesting. Seems to be the only motivation. There wasn't compelling reason to believe. And they had to manipulate experimental evidence to produce results. Like, for example, clay experiments, which, depending on the temperature you use and the clay you use mixture-wise and all this kind of stuff, you're going to get different viscosities of clay, and they'll give you different answers. Clearly experiments that have to be manipulated to produce the results they want, and no one cares. Those facts don't mean anything. Anyway, it's really just quite dismal, and the comments are just a reflection of the dismal atmosphere. So I'll just read some of this useless stuff. What about the Eric Dubé? What about it? What the fuck could that mean to anybody? So thanks. That was just a great waste of a few neurons right there. I'll just delete it. Fuck it. So this Ocean's Estate guy, always this one-liners. Who the hell are you talking about? What is this? Just another opportunist. It's not even there's no way to say that either one of us are opportunists, because the only thing we're gambling for is humiliation. So there's no victories here. To take, an opportunist, like somehow we're gaining something. And so you could argue that he's just another, defeated, a person who can't make an argument, so they resort to, character assassination and irrelevancy. But you can't stay on the subject. You can't win on the subject. But you wouldn't call that person an opportunist. But what is that? What is this shit? Shape up or you will be shipped out. I am getting fatigued with your drivel. All right. And then David's no doubt Farley, bro's mentor, his confidant, his ally in this grand struggle. At 9 minutes, the time codes won't have anything to do with anything. Also, no sense here. There was nothing. There was absolutely no way to decipher anything. I think there's 9:19. Like the 9-minute timestamp wouldn't get you to 9:19 already. At blah blah blah. So you get an interference pattern, but interference is impossible. Obviously, they call it an interference pattern. If I called it the jamming pattern, people wouldn't know what that means. They could maybe think about it, but they really wouldn't have any. It pops right into your head as a visual, the on-off pattern. So of course it's called the interference pattern. I can't do anything about what it's called, but it's not true. Just like when somebody says a wave of light, and I could just say, no, it's a ray of light. Okay, the light doesn't wave, it rays at a frequency. So you think this is a great argument of somehow I've contradicted myself by saying the interference pattern isn't being caused by interference. It's the truth. Okay, now yes, the on-off pattern, I guess I could say that. But it's just not the language of the science. So the fact that the science has established certain words to mean certain things is not my fault. Okay, you have to use their terminology. The bent space isn't being created by bent space, that kind of thing. So he says, laughing my fat ass off. I thought that was revealing. So yes, of course, your ass is incredibly fat, okay, and lazy and blubbery, and ew, quite disgusting. As are you, overall, blob of shit. So him we'll probably just block. So I don't know what all this empty space is. Oh, that's the readme thing. Hey, Daft, I wonder, do you not see that you are giving credence to the guy by talking about him, what he has said? So I'm talking because, yes, other people are saying it's relevant. So therefore, it has to be relevant to me because other people see relevance in it. That's just a fact of life. Sometimes I choose things because I think they're relevant, and sometimes I'm stuck because other people think it's good enough. It has to be addressed. Now here you are giving me credence by commenting on the video, right? So, play your little games of hypocrisy. Just show some more what a hypocrite you are. You put no content on the internet, yet you know the truth. And you won't put anything online to subject yourself to the same sort of scrutiny. The same little word games that you can make. The same mistakes you can make. And we're all to take advantage of. But you don't do that because you're a coward. Okay. If so, the video is trash, whatever that could mean. If not, which of the two is really the dimmest star? So, compared to what? The nothing you've provided. So the zero content you provided is the right answer. And you're so brave to reveal what the truth is to us all and put yourself at risk of being humiliated and educated. But you're a coward. Just such a coward. All right, 2714, gravity is not a velocity. Gravity is acceleration. So just more nonsense about how the fact is they've used this word acceleration to describe something as if acceleration was fundamentally any different than just changing velocity, when it's just changing velocity. Okay, 9098 something meters per second. Yes, that means it's doing 9.8 meters in 1 second, but we know the first second it's only doing 4.8. So even though it says 9.8 meters per second, that's an average. It's not really doing that, because if it only goes 1 meter, well, it's really can't possibly be going 9.8 meters per second as an average for that distance. Obviously, at the very last end of the meter, it's going 9.8 meters per second, but it wasn't doing it the whole time, obviously, because it didn't go far enough to do it the whole time. Okay. And then you just keep doing this second after second. And we know that second after second, it's not 9.8 meters. It's a collection of your accruing velocity. So your velocity gets very, very high, after you've been in the gravity a while, a few seconds worth. You have said something that was utterly stupid, and you proved it nowhere. Google and Slate, whatever that could possibly translate. Oh, gee, so this was translated. Lie. It's just more of his. It's more the games this stupid troll plays. Look, I'll pretend I'm foreign so I can say stupid things, and that it'll sound like I'm trying to speak English, but I'm using the wrong N-word and stuff. Yeah, whatever. What a jerk. Alright, so this guy, I guess, is actually foreign. Ruski, I guess. The experiment of Marek in 1964 disproves relativity. Whoop-de-doo, says you. More information at CS Journal Metaphysics article. I would read anything that's called metaphysics in the first place. Oh, how exciting. Religion. Ooh, how interesting. No, not really. But you don't need to disprove Einstein's relativity. All you need to do is say, prove it. And they can't do it. Okay? They don't have any proof of it. They really don't. All there is proof of the fact that clocks break when you jiggle them too much. We already know that. I break a sundial, I just take it out of gravity. I want to break a pendulum clock, take it out of gravity. Want to break a lot of other watch or clocks, just throw them in some water and they don't work anymore. I mean, lots of ways to break a clock. And the fact that radioactive isotopes, as I have explained in previous videos, simple explanations, why radioactive isotopes decay slower when they have velocity in one direction. Because they obviously, in that case, may not experience the universe the same way anymore, and the event that causes the decay is less likely to take place. Not that hard to figure out. And then the Eddington experiment was just complete rubbish. So, you don't need to disprove Einstein. You just need to say you don't have nearly enough evidence to establish this bent space thingy, whatever that is. And I could just point out that the other forces that we know are real things, not bent space things, move at exactly the same speed. And it would just be a little bit too silly to say, oh, there's some bent space mechanism that moves exactly the same speed, just conveniently, as all the other forces that are not bent space. So, bullshit to that, right? Yeah, bullshit. Didn't mean to hit that, whatever. Alright, so fuck. It's not even anywhere close to the subject. We're talking about kinetic energy. Newsflash. I mean, just so pathetic. Useless. Commenters have just become useless. So anyway, I do have an email address for those who are blocked. It's always in the video, in the description. If you have some insight on the paradoxes and why they're not paradoxes, you have some explanation for how the third law can be possible, any way it survives this kinetic energy theory nonsense. The bullet has 2,000 joules, the gun only has 4 in the opposite direction. How's that? Where's Newton's third law? Every time somebody fires a gun, show me where's Newton's third law working. It's obviously not working. Can't work by your theory. If it takes 2,000 joules to move the bullet, and it only takes 4 joules to recoil the gun, where's Newton's third law? Nowhere in sight. That's where it is. So, the obvious answer is that no, it takes 4 joules to move the bullet. It takes 4 joules to move the gun. The recoil is the same amount of energy as the bullet. They're just doing it in different ways. One's a light bulb, the energy is going in lots of directions, lots of mass moving, and the other one's a laser beam. Same wattage, same energy. I mean, it's trivial. It can be understood trivially, and yet we have to have all this whatever this is, this controversy that nobody can, get through this fog. Nobody can clean this windshield and point to the facts and put them in the right order and make it decent proof. And all they can do is, again, talk about how ugly each other is. That's the best they can do. It's just such a pitiful circumstance. Alright, so we will go to some of that crap because it's out there. The accusations are made. And, what am I going to do? I have to just respond to some of it, but whatever. It's just such a waste of time. So we'll go to the most recent brosyism. The bullshit. Alright, so here we are at Brozo's channel. So he took down all his videos, the recent ones. And now he's put, 1/3 of them back up again. I don't know whether it's the good 1/3 or not. His theory is some kind of crap about, don't do it, Gary. Like somehow I'm going to off myself because of Brosy's videos, which is such a joke, considering, again, I have been saying controversial things on the internet for more than 15 years. And this little weasel thinks he's going to take me down. It's just too funny. Of all the arguments and adversaries, this, twat has any hope of meaning something to me in terms of anything but just mosquito bites. I mean, you're just a mosquito, okay? You're a bug. A useless, silly person who is wasting their time on a mission from petty resentment, and that's all you have. Obviously, you don't care about the science. You're not even interested in the subject, which is quite amazing. Energy isn't an interesting physics subject. Oh, I mean, it's so freaking stupid. And then he retitles it some kind of "Let's revisit Gary's Christmas message." There was no Christmas message, okay? Clearly, I'm just making physics videos. But yes, for something like 6 hours, maybe even 4, I don't know, something, I had a stupid video up. I said stupid thing. Okay, I believed something and I thought the world was a little too silly, and I made a satire statement about there's no point in living, right, if people are this stupid. So that statement gives him some reason to believe I actually was going to commit suicide or some sort of bullshit. Just such nonsense. And I hear the fact that I have to waste time defending myself when I said, yes, that was a bad video. It was a mistake for 6 hours. It was a 6-hour mistake. You left your videos, your garbage videos up for days. And why did you take them down and then a day later put them back up? Seems like you're the one who's confused about what you want to say and how you want to say it. You're the one who can't seem to figure it out. But anyway, it's just too stupid. So I mean, if he's going to go on for an hour and 12 minutes about a video I've already retracted, in the sense I've disowned it, said, no, that was really stupid, I made a mistake. I frankly say everything in the video is fine, except the one misbelief I had at that moment where I wasn't getting the 4 times the distance in gravity to double the velocity. I just didn't see it. For whatever, those 6 hours, that didn't mean anything to me. And then I realized when I thought about, oh yeah, that's supposed to mean something. That's one of the catches of gravity. And so a stupid mistake, fine, you want to take advantage of that to just what? Change the subject? I mean, you don't want to deal with the fact that you're creating paradoxes, violating Newton's third law, saying you have now, created an experiment that proves that Lewin is ignorant and all of the professors are ignorant and wrong. But you won't post any content on those videos. You won't ask any physicist to look at your work and see how great it is and whether it's correct. None of that taking place here. Just this. This is what you waste time with. I mean, this is so pathetic. And so you think it gives your experiment any credibility in this context? You go to the trouble to do the experiment. This wonderful experiment finally provides proof of kinetic energy theory, blah, 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 all this crap. And this is what you do with it? Momentum isn't conserved. The things that have the same momentum can weigh different. can have different weights on a spring, and a spring will produce different momentums. The same spring compression will give things different amounts of momentum. I mean, you proved something none of the physicists knew was true. you know, so again, so I already challenged him not to be a hypocrite. So if you have the evidence, I challenged him. Why won't you put these, the same? Why don't you approach all of the professional physicists with the same contempt you approach me with? Because they're making the same mistake. They're doing the same science denying that I'm doing. Science denying idiot. No, you're the one denying the science, frankly. You've now debunked the conservation of momentum theory. So why don't you make your arguments to those people who still are preaching it? Why not tell physics girl she's full of shit? You're just such a coward. You're just such a hypocrite. So we'll do the comments first. We won't play this stupid video until we have to. So what is all this again? So now he creates some fake notion that there was any real chance Gary was going to commit suicide because Stephen Bro made a retarded video. Did some more sloppy science that was somehow a threat to anything. Yeah. No, I don't think so. 30 comments on this piece of steaming shit, no doubt. So he pinned his own comment. Ooh, how special. All right, let's see. Just over 22 minutes, Gary says that if he lifted a pendulum twice as high, it wouldn't go 4 times higher on the other side. So there's no point. I mean, again, it's a video. In 6 hours, I had already retracted what I said in the video, right? So it only existed as a statement of mine for 6 hours. And this is what he's going to use as an argument. Amazing, petty bullshit. Okay, but he must have been assuming, like most people probably would, that twice the height results in twice the velocity. Yeah, duh. I made a... And like I said, it's a mistake I shouldn't have made. I did know better. Just the part of the brain that knew better was asleep at the moment. And so I was stuck with what I said. But it doesn't. It has to go 4 times higher. And you think because it goes 4 times higher, it has 4 times more energy. Which, again, is stupid because, yes, gravity's a proportional force. It puts more force in the hammer than it puts in the feather. So, whatever. Which I guess would explain it going the same 4 times the height over the other side, because they really does have twice blah 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 blah. Yes, a twice as light object 4 times higher, okay, creates the same momentum. Okay. So what? Why would he do this? Again, I don't really understand how this is relevant. So an argument I retracted. We're right in the middle of me pointing out your theory is paradoxical. Okay, I mean, it creates free momentum, no doubt about it. There's no doubt that you haven't created any argument against that theory. Okay, you're saying the same spring compression creates 35 joules of energy over here and 50 over here, merely because one object's big and one object's small. Well, that means I just compress springs with these small objects, replace them with a big object, and I'm gaining momentum. All right. Going the same place. It wouldn't be so bad if Gary hadn't been studying all these laws of the universe for 10 years or so, enough to qualify him to reinvent every bit that... So I have videos I wish to have scrutinized and debunked. I've reduced them to just 15 minutes long on average, and I can't get, even though I'm offering $2,000 to somebody with a real YouTube channel to argue it. Notice that Stephen Bro isn't going out to the other YouTube channels to say, look, will you validate my experiment? Will you give it some notice because I've done something great? Yes, he's not doing any of that. He's not doing anything to try to glean some support for his new theory of universal mechanics himself. He's just saying, oh, it doesn't matter, it's not important. It's not an important experiment. It's only important for one purpose. What a pile of crap. Anyway, I mean, what a pile of crap if you have any appreciation for what science is supposed to be. You think you've shown something that is significant. Why don't you want people to see the significant thing you've shown? They're not going to see it by you making videos poning me. That's not going to do it, Steve. Ugh, what a jerk. All right. So anyway, I have reinvented crap science. So again, just go ahead, play my 15-minute on photons and explain how that can't be true. Go ahead, coward. Every bit that stood in the way of his unifying theory. So just more crap, There's nothing standing in the way of the theory. And certainly your experiment doesn't stand in its way because, again, it's a free energy theory. And that's not likely to be in my way. That's a flat earth theory. Alright, apparently he forgot some of the laws, even though he watched all Professor Lewin's videos. Yeah, I mean, and what is, again, I forgot it for 6 hours. 6 hours. So it couldn't be possible that I was a little fatigued, a little worn out. I saw something, it triggered. I said, they can't be saying that because that's not true. And and I was wrong. And look at the deal you're making out of it. Look at the game you're playing with that nothing event. You're saying that's what defines. So again, Einstein should have never been able to speak again. Once he denied his cosmological constant, he should have never been allowed to say a thing about anything ever again because he made a mistake. I mean, too stupid. I think he mainly talked through them and didn't touch the 103 ones anyhow. I've played the 803s. So there's more horseshit in the 802Xs and all of that crap. So this asshole actually thinks I haven't searched for every Professor Lewin video ever made. Like I really haven't done that. Yeah, I have done that, retard. Because I like experiments. Obviously, a lot of these freaking professors actually don't do very many experiments. And that was the only thing good about Lewin, that he actually did demonstrations. Although I would argue set up demonstrations once they perfected over time, which is a little dangerous. I've never found a video of Gary's going through any 803 lectures. And again, so why would I go over lectures that aren't totally relevant to my theory? In the sense that they're all based on a theory of waves, and I'm arguing there aren't any of those. Okay, I could be wrong, but I cannot find any, so whatever. I mean, I obviously only did one series of videos where I went through the 40 lectures. I mean, they're hour-long lectures. You've made, what, 4 videos that are actually on physics? How many videos do you think I'm going to put on my channel in the first place? It takes a couple hours to go through a 40-minute video, retard. Anyway, try it yourself. Search 803. So again, the fact that I didn't do every series, he's now saying is evidence of something, when it was just evidence of the fact that the audience really isn't interested enough. And frankly, there isn't enough content that I disagree with. The point is to highlight where the disagreements are, not to highlight places where there aren't disagreements. And so the ones I focused on were the ones on magnetism, this electricity, charge. Those were the ones I thought were most important. Just saying, Gary lied. So he didn't lie about anything. This is just such a pile of shit. You have absolutely no evidence that I haven't seen all of the 803 lectures, and there certainly could be bits of one in a video that doesn't say 803 Lewin on it, where I'm just using the visual. So the fact that you can't find it by searching my channel doesn't mean I didn't see it. I mean, how stupid is this asshole? I've seen some of the Professor Lewin videos. I mean, some of these clips I've watched, like even, the new paradox one, I've watched it, 50 times now? Well, let's say 30. Because it creates a paradox. I'm staring at it saying, well, that's a paradox. What are we going to do with that? I mean, it's so petty. All right, let's see. Let's see. Absolutely bonkers when he redoes all Lewin's lectures while he can't even analyze S equals 1/2 AT squared. So, whatever this is. So he analyzed it, the special S factor. That's 1/2 A, I guess, acceleration times time squared, whatever the time squared would be. Whatever, buddy. Yeah, that's just too brilliant. And the fact that, so see, I can ask questions he'll never answer. So John Walker, do you actually think when Professor Lewin says there's two voltages in one location, when his probe wires are going right through the field of a coil, that he's saying something rational, reasonable? That there really is two voltages in one location on a wire at the same time? Do you really think so, fucking John? Are you, Lewin can't possibly have made mistakes worth people recognizing that this is a, says he kind of thing. Where's your evidence for that bit of crap? Nobody should do this. Thank God. Well, that's good. We know this is just a God botherer. I thought this video had been removed. Oh, what a crisis. The whatever. Badger somebody over a admitted mistake. Oh, okay. Great idea. Yeah, too pathetic. I think there is good reason why he hasn't done videos on the 803 lectures. So again, what do you think is so special about the 803 lectures? I'm just curious. I mean, maybe they can tell me what the great 803 lecture was that I missed out on. I don't know. Only the mention of the words waves or vibrations can drive Gary into a psychoplasmic fit or whatever this is. No. I think you don't think it's worth arguing, and I'm saying it's really worth arguing your theory of waves. And it can be demonstrated, for example, with the radar experiment that Stephen Bro wouldn't do, that I suggested. Just put your receiver right in the middle of two sources and then explain how the waves interfered with each other when they never hit each other. Yeah. Way too religious for him, and that part of nature is for kooks only. Great you put out these videos again, Steve. So these people are just so, oh, it's great that somebody's doing some good pseudoscience. I mean, this is just Ken Wheeler bullshit. I could see the same kind of moronic comments posted on Ken's videos, supporting him in his, effort to prove that light is bent by a magnet when all the physics says it doesn't happen. Thanks, Ian. Someone reminded me of how vile he had been to me and why I shouldn't be over concerned for his welfare. Yeah, like I really believe any of that horse shit. I'm certainly not concerned about yours, I'll say frankly. I'll lament Hafladay's death, many seconds longer than I'll ever concern myself with yours, because you're just a piece of stupid scum. Hafladay had a brain. You don't have one. Hafladay had something called integrity. You don't have any of that. Ugh, you're a disgusting troll is all you are. A buffoon. You think Hafladay would bother making 1.5-hour long cartoon videos? Ugh. Okay. When he isn't remotely concerned for anyone else's. I like people that have character. I'm concerned for their welfare, but yeah, the scum, not too concerned. Get what you deserve, fuckface. Exactly what you fucking have earned in life. Get exactly what you should get for what you've done with your petty, stupid, idiotic brain, which is nothing good. Alright. You are becoming a master of debunking. Yes, master of lie on top of lie on top of petty, stupid bullshit. Nobody else is doing this because I believe they do not care. So this is Gelfield again. It is great fun how you do this. So again, this is good science. It's good for science to have advocates behave this way. it makes it look so legitimate. I love your humor and your experiments. Do you love his little songs too? His little dance steps. Please continue with this. By the way, the replies of Gary to your videos are also very entertaining. Fuck. Both are an evening fulling event. Keep them coming. So again, this is just Farley. Have a good one from the Netherlands. Yeah, I doubt it. Let's see. Thank you for reposting this, Stefan. So again, he took all his other videos down, put this crap up, then took this down too, apparently. I don't know. I mean, what the fuck? And this silly person is passing judgment. I missed the first time round as I'm really busy around Christmas time and missed it all. Aw. It's one video. Okay, out of thousands of videos, the one video I've chosen to say, ooh, that was a mistake and I regret it, is the one they wish to pay attention to. See, I want to do exactly the opposite. I want to like AB Science, I want to take on his best video. I don't want to take on the video where he says, oh yeah, I regret talking about that shit. You know, I want to take on his best work. You know, you people are just such pussies. Okay, I've just given the kids and grandkids, oh, isn't that just so, a practical demonstration of this in the garden, and they all guessed wrong outcomes and were genuinely shocked what the nature actually does. Well, I wonder what the fuck he showed them. You know, too silly. He showed them that momentum isn't conserved. Hope you're all well, mate. Whatever. Oh, this is that fucking Falwell guy. A guy who used to talk this kind of crap on my videos. You know, this kind of bullshit, meaningless mush. You know. But he's switched sides and is now an official whatever, Nazi. Okay, I'm glad your kids have the patience for things like that. Oh, this is such baby talk. They must have some natural curiosity, or maybe you're a natural teacher. Oh, this is like girl talk. Oh, you're so special, Jane. I expect you. This is just such, ooh, creepy. Because I can get my friends' kids interested in anything technical. Yeah, no, you just because they're saying, who the fuck is this guy? You know, you're like the sidekick in a Western. Who the fuck takes any advice from the sidekick in a Western? You know, Gabby Hayes or whatever. They just tell me straight, I'm not interested. It's boring. Oh, please. It sounds like another story you're telling. I think they are naturally curious like me. I think sincerity, they are hoping the liter bottles of water. They are hoping the liter bottles of water would hit me in the face on the way up or on the head on the way down. So he's showing them gravity, I guess. I let them get involved and they enjoy stamping on the plank and watching them fly. Well, one of them more than the other. It's hard to make technical stuff fun. So I guess he's also proving somehow that lighter things only go 1.4 as fast, which is substantially not fast. Understand? It's only 0.4 of an increase. You know, 0.4 it should be logically. Professor Lewin would say it has to go twice as fast, but it only goes 0.4 as fast. Now I wonder if he's showing him that proof. That's lovely, Mike. Oh, this is just so goddamn disgusting. That's lovely. I don't think I've ever typed that. That's lovely. No, ever. I don't have a smartphone, but a couple of years ago, someone showed me an app that lets you hold it up to the sky and see fascinating impressions of what's up there. It's a Ken Wheeler ferrocell. I mentioned this to Hothaday at the time, but he seemed a bit annoyed at me. yeah, see? That's pretty funny. Oh, God. Yeah, that really is funny. You know, even Hothaday lost patience with you bullshit. saying phones aren't magic. You need something or other built into your phone to facilitate this. I don't know. I don't have a smartphone. I was just trying to be. Oh, so yeah, I was just talking shit with Hathaway, and he doesn't like shit talkers. Must have caught him on an off day. Hilarious. So that's how much they know about people. You know, Hathaway liked science to be scientific. That's just let you know. Anyway, my untrained eye, it was just an iPhone. What is he doing? I don't have one, but I want to talk about them. I don't know, some of them are special. I can't afford one myself. So he can afford thousands of dollars worth of, you know, frequency monitors and whatever, this and that. But he can't have a phone because he can't afford it. You can buy a big block of clay. You know, how much did the big block of clay cost? $30? I don't know. Let's see. I bought 2 after being nagged to death and was blah, blah, blah. I don't need to read all this. I became a regular routine. My phone, I don't care. Nokia must be one amazing company. Let's see. Nokia TV 30 years ago from cash generators. Long story why the same one. I'm still going strong. They are unbreakable. Oh, all right, so I still have my Nokia 3310. Yeah, well, they got wiped out pretty much by that Chinese company. So frankly, Nokia, you know, rose fast and fell fast. I have added this to watch later, and we'll watch it on Christmas. Oh, Jesus. Home Alone. Oh, so again, this is their scientific attitude. Somebody takes down a video in 5 hours. We have to keep making fun of that because that's all we have is an argument. Okay. Well, I hope it doesn't ruin your Christmas. Oh, man. What fucking juvenile morons. The next assignment I have for Gary is this. Well, my assignment for you is that I have 3 videos on my website, and I assign to you the task of trying to make a counter argument to any of the physics argued in those videos. But I don't think you'll take the challenge. And please explain the free energy paradox created by variable momentum coming from the same storage device. Okay, in a physics text, a class of high school freshmen get the next question. If we drop, okay, so he's just going to keep arguing the same crap over and over and over. Don't help Gary. Oh, so here, he has a stick of butter here. Okay, the question for Gary is this. If we drop a brass weight with a mass of 2.5 kilograms, why would we do that? I mean, why wouldn't it be 3 or 2 or 1? What will be the velocity after 1 meter? Well, it'll be half of the same velocity that every weight falls. It'll drop 4.9 meters, and its velocity will be 9.8 meters. Dear. Oh, God. So he just ignores the idea of what, a stick of butter. So now he says a stick of butter is 113 grams. Well, say I'm going by quarter pound. I've seen it stated that a stick of butter is like 106. Okay, but let's just, I'm trying to go by a kilogram, right? So we're saying it's 1/10. A stick of butter is 1/10 of a kilogram, theoretically. But the point would be, let's just make it 100 grams. What does 100 grams weigh after it falls 1 meter? That's my question to you, John. What does the maximum deflection of the spring going to be after 1 meter? Okay, so I've got to put my real name in there again. God damn, you people are so fucking uselessly petty. I mean, what the hell, how many times do I have to say? So you're just picking on somebody who lives in this house and saying, look, I'm going to make your name more accessible. Then people can find your address, and then they can find who they are. Why are you doing that? Why are you playing in that way with my personal life? Why? And then you think you're allowed to just call yourself a screen name, logical empiricalist, right? You think you're allowed to have a screen name and remain a private citizen. So if I can find any way to find out who you are, and I just tell somebody else, well, just write it in a comment somewhere who he is, and then I'll pretend I didn't do anything. I just took your name off a public web page. You know? And then I just start making videos just outing you as who you are. It wouldn't mean anything to you. And like I said, it really doesn't mean much to me if I still lived alone, but I don't. And I've explained that. And you just couldn't care less, right? You couldn't care less that you're not harassing me. You're harassing somebody else. And you're kind of extorting them. You're threatening their security for absolutely no good reason. And you think you have something called integrity. And of course, Stephen is too big a fucking asshole to figure out that, yeah, people aren't really supposed to do that kind of shit. I just don't, you know, it's pretty bad that now I can't even read comment sections without people playing this game. It's just pretty sad world that you people have to go to this length, okay, to attack my physics. You can't argue the actual physics. All you can do is this petty harassment. You know, let's play the video he took down. You know, he delisted because he said it was stupid. Let's not play the video he wants you to play. You know, the one specifically made to be debunked. You know, let's run like little cowards from that obligation. Ugh, God, you people, you just suck. So, you know, so thoroughly. Alright, so anyway. Maybe I'll try to go, you know, some other time. I'll go see if there was any comment there worth mentioning. Well, I just pause and I'll go look at it, see what it is. This is probably just crap. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Kind of funny. so he brings up the Holocaust crap, and so then somebody else responds, and it's just so funny how there's no overreaction to anything. You know. So the Iron guy, because he's, you know, whatever his motivations are, right? Well, I don't think whether or not that's true is his biggest fault. So he says there is some evidence against the use of gas chambers for mass killings. He was allowed to say that, which is hilarious, right? Because he's an obvious anti-Semite. Why are you laying an obvious anti-Semite comment? You know, this is a taboo subject. You cannot say anything about, you know, anything from the, you know, soap. You know, they made little spinning, you know, wind chimes out of Jews. They made everything out of Jews. But I don't want to trivialize it. But I just mean there are a lot of stories that were, you know, just pretty silly. And we don't have a huge, great, again, it's another one of these things where the evidence is a little bit, and again, it doesn't have anything, it just has to do with people who just really don't like being told stories. Okay, some people like to be told stories, they don't have to be true, and it's okay, and we'll all believe them, and who cares? And some people are just like, nah, don't tell me a story. Don't tell me the tea, you know, in Boston Harbor was more expensive tea. You know, highly taxed tea. No, it was the cheap tea, okay? And it was the cheap imported tea that was in the harbor. It wasn't the expensive tea. It wasn't because the tea was too expensive. It was too cheap. Okay, and none of the locals got to make money on it. It was the imported tea company. You know, they're not the Native American, you know, the Native American, which is the big joke, right? The people who's stealing other people's land, and they want to own all the commerce. You know, and they just didn't want the British making the money. They wanted to make the money, clearly. So don't tell me your stories mean anything. We've been told story after story after story, and 90% of them are aggrandized and inflated and horseshit. You know, we had to blockade the Japanese because the Japanese were eating the Chinese. You know, they were eating too many Chinamen. So we had to blockade Japan and cause, you know, World War II, essentially, our part of it. So yeah, just tell me some more stories. You know, just so fucking hilarious. But anyway, to bring this shit up in a physics conversation, it's just so pathetic. Oh, just, you know, these people are just such pieces of shit. All right, Steve, will you? So I just saying that they're not going insane. We have to. How can this guy dare to change the Holocaust story at all? How dare he? and no reaction. So clearly this is just all about who says it. It's not about what is said. Ugh. People are just so duplicitous. I mean, it's just so obvious duplicity. Let's see. Steve, will you stop deliberately picking out bits of your test or falsely represented the truth, to falsely represent the truth? And will you stop using the wrong springs? So he's saying there's no chance that he's using the wrong springs, I guess. I mean, this is a satirical statement saying that his experiment is perfect and it shows that there is no conservation of momentum and all the physics professors are wrong. Yet we won't talk about all the physics professors being wrong, because that's not the importance of this new discovery, that all the physics professors are wrong. That's not insignificant. It's because it proves Gary's wrong somehow. Now it's significant. You see how perverse this is? They don't even know the science. They don't even know what the scientists actually say. Well, they do. Stephen Barreau has seen me play the clips of Professor Lewin talking about momentum and how it has to be conserved and how you can't screw with it. And his experiment overtly proves Lewin wrong. And yet he has no interest in educating Lewin. Why? Amazing. I didn't know I'd been accused of using the wrong springs. Well, if you watched my video, I made it kind of clear that, yes, you need a stiffer spring, retard. There aren't enough hours in the day to listen to his stream of nonsense excuses. Okay, so he's already said they're nonsense excuses. So the fact that his little chess pieces they were lifting were too light, he won't concede that's a fact, and he shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. He won't concede that using a gravity to push things, oops, that's a mistake, because gravity moves things at the same speed. It can't make things go faster, all that kind of crap. So that was kind of a stupid thing to do. No. Okay. Catalog them, test them, respond to them, and have any life left. Well, again, you can consolidate them. So you think that there's that the basic, you can't choose your videos which ones that are the ones you probably should be listening to. The ones like directly pointing to your arguments and debunking them. Those are the ones you can listen to. Don't bother listening to the comment ones, because you won't hear anything new. Okay, the videos directly talking and responding to your videos are the ones you should listen to, retard. All right, Gary hasn't got any science, so has to be equally inventive with his lies. So more horseshit. So he's linking to something, okay, that's supposed to be, what, evidence of that? You can't watch the videos that actually point out to you that, well, maybe a flaw in your experiment is that the spring isn't tense enough to produce the necessary velocity. The spring is too slow.
Wait. Before you scroll away, you need to hear this.
It's somebody else's
Republicans
video.
across the country are moving fast to enact massive voter suppression law.
What a waste of time. Monty Python jokes. I mean, again, so it's just such horse shit. He is suggesting that you try to tie the cart experiment with springs of different stiffness and only showed the runs where 1.4 result came out. I said this might be a legitimate accusation to make, and and it's sort of just in pointing out that Steve just makes shit up, so I guess I should just make shit up about his intent and what he has done. So yeah, that's what I did. I just made up a story about how Steve probably he's obviously just a little weaselly cheater, so why isn't that the truth? Yeah. He probably tried it with the spring attached to the wall, didn't work as well. Then he tried it with a better spring and it didn't work. And the only way he could make it work was to tie the spring to the cart and make it a mushy spring. Then it worked. All right, his description and evasion are predictable, of course. So there's no counter argument to the argument as I pointed it out. I mean, I pointed out that Professor Lewin, I saw a clip of Professor Lewin talking about this phenomenon of the fact that the stiffer the spring, the faster the velocity it can produce. It's a fact. Okay, it's not something I made up, it's a fact. And it could be relevant to the experiment, especially in the case where the cart's 2 kilograms. All right, his whole unification theory depends on denying inconvenient physics experiments. So which ones am I denying? So we're saying again that Stephen Bro's experiment, which has no correlation to any physics ever presented prior to Stephen Bro. There's no experiment showing what Stephen Bro is showing, which is different momentums produced by the same spring. So we have no previous experiment in 300 years, and it's some kind of harsh denial of mine to say, gee, I'm not convinced. There's no record of this fact existing. None of the physics professors believe it, and yet I'm wrong because I'm not perfectly willing to believe that Stephen Bro has invented something entirely and discovered a new truth. Okay. The next phase, of course, is where his cultist JPG Ritchie tries to spin this. He's basically quoting my text, and he's calling that a spin, which is hilarious, as reasonable, and tells us that Draft is saying as if his guru is speaking Greek and we need him to translate anything for us. Well, he does reduce things now and then in better language, and sometimes it's less well language, so I'd say it's 50-50. But the point is, he's saying you haven't addressed any of these points. So I've displayed the paradox. How is the paradox not real? Explain to me. Provide your explanation for how the paradox doesn't exist. Okay, I take two things with the same, they produce the same spring compression, but they have different momentums. You don't understand how then I can just have lighter things compress the spring, replace it with a heavier thing, and I gain more momentum. And then I can just do that over and over and over again. Just keep replacing the energy in and putting something else for the springs when the spring expands. And it literally creates more momentum. You don't understand how that's a problem. Right, the next phase of the circus is where, so yes, it is a circus, and it's not a circus because I'm making circus videos. I'm trying to argue physics, and you keep wanting to argue crap. Videos from 6 months ago that I, took down literally in, a matter of hours. That to you is the pertinent subject. Okay, tells us that Draft is saying, okay, well, anyway, so bad. LOL, I'm going to choke through laughter. Boy, I really didn't see anything that funny in that comment, but whatever. Could have fooled me. My full reply auto-deleted by YouTube. I don't think it liked me calling him arseface or something. The description, the desperation he displays is too much to take. I'm not the one resorting to this kind of crap as an argument, so clearly I'm not so desperate. I'd like to discuss physics. You wouldn't. That's clear. I don't know what desperation has to do with it. I almost can't quite believe he says these things. Right, so you can't believe that somebody would argue with Ken Wheeler's assertion that the ferrocell, look, the light's bent. Clearly the magnet bent it. Can't argue with that. It's a fact. So that's how I'm supposed to look at Ken Wheeler's video, right? You would suggest to me that when Ken Wheeler says light is bent by magnetism, I should believe it because he showed it to me. And I shouldn't ask any other questions. I shouldn't ponder whether he knows what he's talking about. I shouldn't at all say, well, how does the ferrocell work? Why does it do what it does? I shouldn't ask those questions. I mean, you people are just, again, such duplicitous hypocrites. Alright, Metamorph, this ought to be entertaining. He is so fucking stupid. So he knows nothing about physics. Zero. Okay. Zero. Okay. 99% just show up at Gary's for the freak show. Okay, yes. Unfortunately, this is what people are attracted to on the internet. The YouTube audience does suck. I mean, the average YouTuber is a moron, and that's a sad fact. But there are some small minority who really resonate with his hatred to the point that Gary becomes a sort of fundy Bible source for them. So again, I couldn't be more of an advocate against the small-minded short thinking of the Bible. And I'm advocating that we should have evidence before we draw conclusions. Now, we could ask you again, can you link me to a single professor talking about kinetic energy and momentum that's doing it accurately? So can you link to a single physics professor talking about the 1.4 theory? Okay. Inerrant and the fundamental source of truth. So again, that's not any part of the argument. I'm also pointing out how, yes, if you're going to say two waves interfered with each other, you should prove it, right? If the geometry for jamming is exactly the same as the geometry for this wave interference, because it just has to do with the fact that the signals are out of phase, jamming is out of phase signals. That's all you have to do. Send the same frequency out of phase, you jam the radio. So the geometry is exactly the same. Now you're saying it has to be wave interference. Why? Yeah, okay. You want to answer the question. Oh, they'll deny it and come up with some insignificant difference in opinion to establish themselves as independent thinkers. Well, that's what you people are doing. And frankly, who cares about this independent thinking? The whole point of thinking is to not make mistakes, is to not believe things that aren't true. Those are the things that are going to destroy your ability to reason, the false facts. And you seem to be just a huge advocate for a big pile of false facts. Ones that certainly haven't been proven to be facts. Okay, but really they're just whatever, toting bootlickers who believe in their weirdo, I mean, this really isn't, there's no point in all this crap, right? Patron saints every utterance. Funny how their favor is so obviously fueled by hatred and envy. And the same could be said with this whole trolly little group you have. What the hell's fueling any of you? You don't care about the truth. You don't care about physics. You don't care about the integrity of science. You just care about, oh, Gary hurt my feelings once, and I have to get it back at him somehow. Okay, and yet they always say they're arguing the evidence, and you never do it or even say it, because you don't have any. Ephilism it's just so off the subject, you know. Yes, of course, people with problems are going to tend to be recognizing that they're an anti-pro-life philosophy. You know, people who maybe have a mongoloid child will be more in favor of abortion, you know, that kind of thing, you know, live and learn kind of thing. But you don't think people should do that either. But anyway, so Charles Manson, I mean, this is just baby talk, you know. So what a pathetic, stupid fuck. Let's see what Steve says. I share your fears, concerns, and observations. You put it in a hell of a lot better than I could, though. Oh, yeah, really. You would use your stupid Monty Python references, and he'll use his little Charlie Manson references. Again, Charlie didn't really kill anybody. It was just the silly minions. And you're the people who are attempting to incite, you know, all kinds of excessive animosity that doesn't, you know, you're the one excessively describing everything that I do, you know, in these just insane excess, you know, again, to imply that you know, I'm anti-Semitic when I've never ever theorized on any Jew inferiority theory of any kind ever. You know, it's just so pathetic. You people you suck. You suck. You're just such lousy human beings. Alright, so enough of that. So maybe we'll play this eventually or something. Maybe I'll watch it and see if there's anything in here. This hour and 20 minutes of horse shit. Unorganized bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to debunk the video you had up for 6 hours. Yeah, wow. God, what a brave person you are. Yeah. Again, the 3 videos have been up as long as, almost as long. I mean, might be 6 months now. I mean, at least one of them was up for 6 months. So you got one on photons, one on gravity, and one on energy. And he won't touch those, but he'll do this nonsense. What a fucking coward. Alright, anyway, enough of this nonsense. And we'll go back to our agenda. My physics arguments. Ugh. And, I don't hear it much from the Aerosoap Breeze guy. He doesn't post any comments, so I don't know whether he's still in the mood to do experiments or what. Because again, I guess there's not going to be any other new data, so we're still stuck with just doing these basic experiments. So, see if you can make a spring produce 2 different momentums, and then that'll be a start to the conversation, because then we'll know. I guess then we'll know that at least springs completely violate Newton's 3rd law. But anyway, so till the next time and such, so forth and whatnot. Just dismal. Dismal atmosphere of whatever internet interaction. I mean, this could be such a powerful tool, to really hash out truth, to sit there and really have all these arguments about all these scientific theories and all these things, and it's just wasted because of these trolls dominating the conversation. Just too sad. Too pathetic. The human race does, in fact, suck at being smart.